While we're reading Fire and Blood recently, the part where Alysyanna Targaryen attempts to fly her dragon, Silverwing, over the wall really caught my attention, mainly due to the ominous nature of the event, the dread it filled Alysyanna with, and the massive amount of contrast this has to Daenerys flying her dragons over the wall in the show, and what that may say about what's to come in Winds of Winter. During her visit to the Night's Watch, Alysyanna tried to fly her dragon, Silverwing, over the top of the wall to explore beyond. 3 times she tried and 3 times she failed. In her letters to her husband, King Jaehaerys, she talked at great length regarding this, how despite her greatest efforts, Silverwing would not go to the top of the wall and refused to go any further, that the dragon actively battled Alysyanna's will, and for the first and only time, Silverwing would not take the queen where she wanted to go. She described to Jaehaerys how this event filled her with dread, for reasons she could not understand. On top of this, she notes how Silverwing did not seem to like being anywhere near the wall, and that this too unsettled her. Now, why do I bring this up? It's because of the sheer contrast of what happens in Season 7 of Game of Thrones, when Daenerys flew all 3 of her dragons over the wall to aid Jon's party after they are trapped on a frozen lake by White Walkers. It seems odd to me that Alysyanna would have this kind of trouble hundreds of years before Dany, when the return of the White Walkers is a long time off, yet Dany seemed to have little trouble doing the same thing. But before I talk about what I think the implications of Alysyanna's troubles with Silverwing will mean for the books, I want to break down some of the reasons why I think she had these problems. I have 3 ideas that I think could explain why this happened, and I think in a way it is quite obvious. Silverwing could have sensed that beyond the wall was not somewhere she was meant to go, that maybe she could sense the power of the White Walkers in the Land of Always Winter. If the others are magic by nature, then it is possible that Silverwing could sense them and knew it was something that was a danger to her. An idea I like more is that the same magic that stops the others from crossing the wall prevents Silverwing from doing so, as dragons, like others, seem to be magic in nature. However, if you make the argument that direwolves could hold some kind of magic, then how would ghosts be able to cross the wall? There again, there is a debate among fans if direwolves are magical in the same sense as dragons and the others. While I was doing some background research on this topic to see what others may have said that I had missed, I came across a theory that I really liked. The wall is a magical construct that stops the others from crossing into Westeros. It could be that same force that's stopping another magical creature, Silverwing, from crossing. The theory I found stated that maybe the psychic link that dragon riders tend to share with their dragons was blocked or interfered with by the magic of the wall. It would explain Alysyanna's difficulties flying Silverwing, and also the feeling of dread she felt, with her feeling it via Silverwing. In other words, it was Silverwing's feeling of dread. I was also thinking that you could take this theory one step further and suggest that the Children of the Forest could directly be involved. I have seen some people suggest Bloodraven being a part, but considering he's not even born by this point, that doesn't work out. I suppose if you believe the idea that the Three-Eyed Crow and Bloodraven are separate entities entirely, as suggested by the show, this could still work in some capacity. Now, in the show, Season 7, Daenerys seems to fly with ease over the wall with all 3 of her dragons to rescue Jon Snow and his party. The problem is, based off the law established in Fire and Blood, this should not have been possible. Dany not crossing the wall would have implications. Jon and his party would not have been saved, but also Viserion would not have been killed and brought back by the Night King. The Night King could then not use the dragon to bring down the wall, which was still stopping the others from crossing into Westeros. Now, the show is not canon to the book, but I think we can take something away from this big difference in how the wall works. I don't think Dany will be going north of the wall in Winds of Winter, and I think Jon's whole plan to capture a White was a show-only thing. If something like this does happen in the book, i.e. the Night King killing a dragon, then I think it will be after the others have already crossed the wall. There is also the simple answer that Dany was near Eastwatch and flew around the wall rather than over it, but I do feel that this would be a bit of a cop-out. I think what this highlights is even how a minor change to the law in the show, such as this, can have branching implications. It shows how each deviation the show made took it further and further away from the book, and thus why I do think the books will play out very differently to the show. In some respect, a lot of the aspects of the ending in the show are not possible in the book. It's why I think predicting what will happen in the Winds of Winter, using what happened in the show as a base, is so hard, as the branching changes have moved them further and further away from where Winds of Winter will be going in a lot of significant ways. So what do you think about all this, and the idea of dragons over the wall? And what impact, if any, do you think these pieces of lore will have in Winds of Winter compared with the show? I'll be really interested to find out in the comments.